going on, everybody? It's been a while since we had an NBA-only YouTube video on the channel. But in the midst of free agency, the best time of the year, I thought I'd talk about one of the biggest superstars in the NBA, Kevin Durant. He's requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets just a couple years after signing a 5-year deal with them. So that leaves us with the question, where is Kevin Durant going? Where should he go? Now, obviously, for everyone who knows what we see from Kevin Durant, he's a really real guy, and he's gonna do what does the best for him. Essentially, he doesn't really and he does care what people say about him. He doesn't care how he responds because he is human like the rest of us. And we all know same goes with basketball. The man was not afraid to join a 73-win team to go get 2 free rings. So I have 6 ideal fits that I think would work for Kevin Durant. I split them up into 2 categories. There's Kevin's mindset, which is I don't really care. I'm going to go because it's an easy shot to get a ring. Or it's I want to prove a point mindset. So 3 of each. If you're watching this, after you're done watching this, there will be a Kyrie video posted at some point on my personal channel today. Link will be in the description about Kyrie. I decided to save Kyrie for my personal channel because he's my favorite player in the world. I feel like his hoo-ha should be for, my own personal matter. But without further ado, let's get right into it. We'll start with the Kevin mindset. Number 1 would have to be the Suns. 60-plus win team. Best regular season team in the NBA. Came up short in the playoffs. Not the first time we see him go to the best team in the NBA after losing in 7 games in the playoffs to a walking triple-double. Generational talent. Wouldn't be a first. But in Kevin's mind, that has to be your easiest ring. The Suns probably by far have the best package of teams I can think of. Philly probably has a good package as well. But after the Gobert trade, the KD stock has gone up essentially. If Gobert is worth that much, what is Kevin Durant worth? A lineup of CP3, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I'm not going to say that's a gimme ring. They would be my favorites to win it all, despite the Warriors looking like they're not slowing down anytime soon. The package will have to revolve around Mikal Bridges, unfortunately. But I think Suns fans would also admit when it comes to a player like Kevin Durant, you're willing to cut your losses on some of your favorite guys. Ayton would have to go as well, and plenty of picks. But if I was Kevin Durant and I had the weak-ass mindset of Kevin Durant, the Suns would absolutely be my first choice. My next choice would be the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, in history, you're going to look back on this and be like, oh, he's joining a non-playoff team. They couldn't even make the play-in. And all this stuff. Like, he's joining a bad team. Let's put it that way. He'll be joining a bad team. But if you were to team up with the one guy who had your number your entire career, if LeBron James did not exist, Kevin Durant would be a top 10 player of all time because he would have dominated this decade so hard. Mind you, he's never played LeBron. He's lost to some Western Conference legends. But this man would have probably snagged 2 more MVPs early in his career, and he would just be the talk. No one else really had a chance for about a good 7-8 years to even come close to LeBron James. There's Kevin Durant. If you were to team up with that would be really tough on your legacy. But damn, y'all would be good. Y'all would be really good. I've always said a team of LeBron James and Kevin Durant, everyone else can have the regular season. I think if they were to play in the playoffs, I don't think they'd lose a game together. You're talking I think the best scorer in NBA history in terms of he can get a shot at every level, his height. And then you got this arguably the greatest playmaker of all time, who is not too shabby at scoring himself. If anyone who knows me, I believe LeBron is the greatest of all time. He's the best scorer, greatest of all time. Again, they would leapfrog into my favorites. They're arguably 2 of the best players in the game today, 2 of the greatest of all time. Would it be the weakest move the second weakest move Kevin Durant's ever made? Yes. But they'd be good. And that's all that matters when it comes to Kevin Durant. My last move for KD, that would be utterly so weak, but it looks so good, is the Boston Celtics. I'm going to tell you right now. These guys behind me, not trading them. I wouldn't do it. I'm not. After the 2 huge moves made today by getting Malcolm Brogdon for a paperclip and Gallinari. I'm very pleased with Boston's all season. If we could just get a rotational piece at center, I think we're really set. So we don't really need to go trade Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and the whole barn for Kevin Durant. But if you were Kevin Durant, the trade is essentially like your own option, and the Nets have zero leverage in his trade choice. The Boston Celtics. You just witnessed this team take you out. Wouldn't be the first time you joined a team that took you out. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Robert Williams. That is a team you want to be with. We already know Katie and Tatum have some sort of relationship playing Team USA ball together. Joining the team that squeaked by, it was a sweep, but trust me, them games were nerve-wracking. Boston would be is a very place where people are now looking. And they're starting to get the wins together. Obviously, 2 games away from winning the finals. From Kevin Durant, I would give Boston a very hard look. But again, if I'm Brad Stevens and Sean Marks is talking about Jaylen Brown, hanging up the phone. Now, let's say Kevin Durant had a change of heart and he wanted to prove something for once. There's not a lot of teams where Kevin Durant could go to and people would be like, that is a weak-ass move. And my first one being the Miami Heat. Sure, he would be joining the 1 seed, and he'd be teaming up with another top 10 player in the world, arguably in Jimmy Butler. But I wouldn't see it as weak as a move, and I think he'd be proving something because he'd be the best player on the squad. And if you were to lead this Miami team back to greatness, it'd almost be like Jimmy, who'd be the D Wade in the situation. He didn't win the finals, but he got him there, and he's had sustained success here. KD would be the LeBron, coming in with something to prove. These wouldn't be the two. Let's say they were to win a championship. This isn't the greatest ring I'm ever looking at. But this isn't a super team. You got 2 all-stars. Bam probably would have to be in the trade for Kevin Durant. Miami fans would have to understand that. When it comes to a guy like Kevin Durant, it's worth it. Maybe I'm a hypocrite because I said I wouldn't trade Jaylen Brown, but I just don't see Bam Adebayo on JB's level. That's just me, personally. But Kevin Durant to the Miami Heat, I think, would earn him a ring. If he were to win a championship with them, would get him that ring that we could all sit back and just be like, all right, you've earned one. You'll finally earn one. This isn't him joining a 73-win team. Yes, it's a 1 seed, but it's just not the same. I think this would be an earned ring with how stacked the Eastern Conference is. This could be a good move by Kevin Durant. It wouldn't be too polarizing, and he could very well get a championship out of it. My next move, arguably the second best package for him, is the Philadelphia 76ers. It's a very simple package. Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, Matisse Thybulle, probably 3 or 4 first-round picks. My only other NBA video on this channel is about Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese Maxey is that good that he can be a piece in a Kevin Durant trade. Embiid isn't 24 anymore. This isn't, trust the process. This isn't, we got time. Embiid will never win a championship if you keep looking at things like, Maxey in 5 years could be better than Durant in 5 years. Who's to say Joel Embiid is playing basketball in 5 years? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at some point he looks at his health and he starts to question himself. Obviously, Joel Embiid, in my opinion, is the best center in basketball. He's one of the 5 best players on the planet, and he is one of my favorite players. He always has been, despite being a Sixer. But I think he'd have to think the same thing. You love your teammates. You love Tyrese Maxey. You love Tobias Harris. But they gotta go. If this is Kevin Durant we're talking about. If Embiid, Harden, Kevin Durant are on a team, I fully expect them to be a top 4 seed once again. But the gap between them and the 3 seed, I guess this year, Bucks, them and the 3 seed Bucks, this. Because 1, 2, 3, super close. Philly might as well be been one of the bottom teams because if they're not healthy, they can't compete. If James Harden isn't being at least semi-aggressive, they aren't doing much. And Matisse Thybulle would absolutely have to be in the trade, and I think that would be a win for Philly. You could get rid of him in a context that in most eyes is like, oh, right, this is exceptional. Like that's a good reason to trade him. I think he could be traded for anything, but Philadelphia 76ers, a very good fit for him. He could prove himself as the best player on the squad, slightly better than Joel Embiid. Maybe not even, but a team that hasn't proven nothing, I'll tell you that. and they got the goods to go get him. I like Philadelphia probably the most. And my last pick is simply because he's from there. The Washington Wizards. They don't really got anything to trade for him, but if you'd want to go back home, team up Bradley Beal, go get a championship. That would be your LeBron to the Cavs championship. That would be like this year's Steph's championship. That would be Michael Jordan Father's Day type championship. If you went back home to the sorry Wizards and you took Bradley Beal and that team to the championship, sir, I'd call you the 8th greatest player of all time, Kevin Durant. If you were to ever see this, I'd call you the 8th greatest player of all time if you were to do that. Mind you, I don't know their package. I don't know if they really have the parts for it. But thanks everyone for watching. That is where these are all the places I think Kevin Durant could land. Hopefully, by the time this is posted, he doesn't land anywhere, and he is still in Brooklyn, and we're still trying to talk trades because got a lot talked about. Tune in, me and Danny might be going live as soon as Kevin Durant gets traded, or at some point tomorrow night to be wrapping up, talking about all the NBA action that has happened today. Because it's been a lot. My Celtics made moves. Kevin Durant could be on the move. Kyrie could be on the move. We're going to be talking about it all. So again, thank you for watching, and make sure you all have a good day.